the ally of creativity or the enemy of mutuality? Is it the presence of self-reflexivity or the absence of company? Well, the answer is multifaceted and not a universal one. The subjectivity of this issue is quite fascinating, as it explores the perspectives of those who choose solitude over having company or collectivistic ideologies, and cherish the true nature of creativity and self-reflexivity. Solitude as a concept in itself can be described as a gray void, an infinitely large space of infinite possibilities and capabilities. However, it's not all rainbows and sunshine, as the void is labeled to be gray, after all, in this context. The analogy of a gray void is representative of solitude in itself, where an applied conscience of values, beliefs, and virtues underline the significance of the grayness of a void. What is the grayness of a void, you might ask? It's the ambiguous and discursive fundamental of everything we know of, a chaotic yet orderly environment within which one's thought process and decision-making has consequences, whether they be positive or negative. Solitude is indeed a double-edged sword, daring to nick and notch one edge of its blade to reinforce the other. I was an introverted child, always was, had few friends, and even fewer connections. I always kept to myself. However, socializing with my friends during and after school wasn't unpleasant. More so, it was less compelling than my inner world. It wasn't the extreme type of introversion, or a subtle way of focusing on one's own time and things, rather than engaging on another person's thoughts or issues. Just a quiet preference for personal time over the noise of collective activity. After the COVID-19 pandemic brought about prolonged lockdowns and physical isolation, my tenuous connections with friends and distant relatives weakened further, shifting my introversion to a more abnormal and enforced solitude. I confronted myself deeper than ever before, grasping on the choice of isolation as a shield against vulnerability. Over time, I realized how this approach was neither sustainable nor fulfilling. It was time to make a substantial change in consideration of my progression over the years to come. I began cultivating a sense of appreciation for the interplay between solitude and social interaction. This realization prompted me to step outside my comfort zone, where I made a conscious effort to re-engage with the world. Almost 2 years really changed my perspective of life altogether, from compulsively being solitary to actively balancing my life with the involvement of aspects of solitude and social company. I noticed a shift in behavior in response to nuances in social settings, being more receptive to other perspectives and being in other people's shoes. I was out in the real world, beyond the boundaries of my school, exposed to a newer worldview. Quoted by novelist Mehta, loneliness is the poverty of self, solitude is the richness of self. The quote lays stress on the distinction between solitude and loneliness. I became cognizant of my virtues and worked on myself, from being the socially awkward to being more direct, interactive, and eloquent about my thoughts. My unequivocal nature and organized demeanor has shaped my personality day by day, sculpting my inner thoughts and conscience in an orderly manner, to the extent to which I am mindful of the situations I present myself with and the actions I take in that context. I've set off to distinguish between the pros and cons of both ends of the string, treasuring the grey void of solitude that I've been buoyant in since the start of time itself.